The night passed, and that in itself is a testament. There were thoughts that tried to extinguish you before you fell asleep. There were burdens that lay with you, even when your body was too tired to fight. There were silent battles, fought in the dark, that no one saw, no one heard, no one noticed. But you woke up, and that wasn't automatic. It wasn't common. It wasn't guaranteed. Today, before any human word, before any news, before any noise, you position yourself in spirit and acknowledge, I survived the night because I was sustained. Father, at the beginning of this day, I don't start by asking. I begin by acknowledging. I acknowledge that the night tried to swallow me, but it couldn't. I acknowledge that the weight tried to break me, but it didn't win. I acknowledge that fear tried to paralyze me, but it didn't have enough authority. Your word says that we were not consumed because your mercies never end. They are renewed, and they are renewed now, this morning, at this very moment. Today, I awaken more than my body. I awaken my soul. I awaken my faith. I awaken that which has been dormant because of pain, weariness, and the repetition of struggles. As the psalmist declared, I say, awaken my glory. Awaken that which God placed in me, and which the night tried to silence. Because I know that the night was not greater than the promise. The darkness was not greater than the word. The silence was not greater than the voice of God. There was weeping, yes. There was confusion, yes. There were moments when it seemed there would be no dawn. But the joy was not cancelled. It was simply waiting for the right time to manifest itself. Father, this morning, I present myself before you, not as one who has conquered all, but as one who has persevered. And persevering is already a form of victory. I reject now every lie that tries to say that waking up tired means failure. I reject every accusation that tries to transform survival into weakness. Your word teaches me that seeking you in the morning is a sign of trust, that watching at dawn is a sign of active faith, that rising, even without answers, is an act of spiritual courage. Therefore, before this day tries to command me, I declare, I align myself with you. I do not allow what remained of the night to govern what was born this morning. I do not allow the attacks of yesterday to dictate the decisions of today. I do not allow weariness to speak louder than your faithfulness. Today, I do not wake up by chance. I wake up because there is a purpose. I wake up because there is a calling upon this day. The Lord heard my voice this morning. The Lord saw the tears that no one else saw. The Lord counted every sigh that seemed too small to be a prayer. And now, as the light breaks through, something within me also realigns. My hope rises. My mind quiets. My spirit finds firmness. I do not ignore that there are challenges ahead. I do not deny that there are struggles that are not yet over. But I affirm with conviction, I do not begin this day alone. The same God who watched over me at night walks with me in the morning. The same God who sustained me in silence now strengthens me in the light. Today, I place this day before you. Before tasks, decisions, and responsibilities, I place my heart. Before strategies, I place trust. May your mercy reach me again. May your voice be louder than any noise. May your presence precede me in every step. I survived the night, and that changes everything. Not because everything is resolved, but because I am still here. And if I am still here, God is still working. This day does not dawn empty. It dawns laden with purpose. It dawns under divine watchfulness. It dawns with the opportunity to start again. Today I rise, not by my own strength, but by the faithfulness of the one who never sleeps. And I declare, the night did not conquer me. The dawn found me standing. There was a night when David hid in caves, not because he was weak, but because he was being persecuted, anointed, chosen, called, and yet sleeping in dark places, surrounded by threat and uncertainty. David knew the weight of the early morning. He knew the silence that screams. He knew the moment when the promise seems too distant to reach. But it was there in that shadowy space that he declared his trust, not when the scenario changed, but when his heart decided to trust. Father, this morning, I remember David to understand that being in the cave does not negate the anointing, that going through persecution does not cancel the calling, that the night does not redefine who I am. Like David, I refuse to allow fear to write my identity. I am not what persecutes me. I am not what threatens me. I am what the Lord has declared about me. There was also Elijah, a prophet who faced descend from heaven, but who, after great victories, wished to give up. Elijah's night was not a lack of faith, it was exhaustion. He lay down asking to stop, but God did not confront him with accusations. God met him with provision. Father, this teaches me that tiredness does not disqualify me, that needing to stop is not failure, that the Lord does not demand strength when He promised sustenance. Today I reject the guilt of being tired. I reject the comparison with past versions of myself, and I receive God's care that restores before sending again. Jesus also knew the early mornings. He rose when it was still dark, not to escape from people, but to align himself with the Father. This teaches me that the morning is not just the beginning of tasks, but a space for spiritual repositioning. That whoever prays before the day speaks, chooses which voice will govern. Father, this morning I choose to seek You before seeking answers. I choose to listen to You before reacting. I choose to consult You before deciding. And there was Joshua, faced with a mission too great, responsibilities too heavy, expectations too high. He heard a simple and profound command: be strong and courageous. Not because the path would be easy, but because God would be present. Today, I receive that same word, not as pressure, but as a promise. Like them, I understand that overcoming is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite it. They all had nights. They all faced limits. They all reached moments when human strength was not enough, and they all discovered that God remains when the night insists on staying. Father, if they crossed over and remained, I will also remain. If they rose even without guarantees, I will also rise. If they trusted when everything seemed unstable, I choose to trust now. I don't romanticize pain, but I also don't let it define my future. The same hand that sustained David, Elijah, Joshua, and Jesus is extended today. Not to promise a day without struggles, but to guarantee that no struggle will be faced alone. Today I rise with this awareness. The night was not the end of the story. It was only the previous chapter. Morning has arrived, and with it, silent decisions begin to be made within you. Not all will be spoken, not all will be perceived, but all will have an impact. Today you can allow tiredness to dictate the pace, or you can choose to align yourself with the renewed strength. Father, this morning I do not deny the weariness. I do not hide the signs of the path traveled, but I also do not submit to the idea that today will only be a repetition of yesterday. Your word says that those who wait on the Lord renew their strength. This means that strength does not come before waiting. It is born within waiting. Today, I wait. I wait with an open heart. I wait with an aligned mind. I wait with the confidence of one who knows that the Lord does not delay. I declare that this day will not overwhelm me. I enter it with spiritual awareness. Before the urgencies scream, I listen to your voice. Before the pressures arise, I steady my steps. Before fear tries to negotiate decisions, I reaffirm my faith. This is the day the Lord has made. It was not created to crush me. It was created to reveal something. Perhaps not everything, perhaps not immediately, but something will be built today. Father, I will not waste this morning reacting. I choose to act with wisdom. May my words today carry balance. May my choices today carry discernment. May my steps today carry purpose. If there is confrontation, may I not lose my composure. If there is delay, may I not lose faith. If there are closed doors, may I not lose direction. The light that breaks like the dawn also reveals paths. And I ask, show me where I should tread and where I should wait. Today, I don't enter this day seeking absolute control. I enter seeking alignment, because alignment changes the outcome, even when the scenario doesn't change. Father, if this day brings challenges, may they find someone positioned. If it brings difficult decisions, may they find someone guided. If it brings silence, may they find someone confident. I declare that I am not governed by anxiety. I am not driven by haste. I am not dominated by the expectations of others. I walk with the awareness that I am more than a conqueror, not because everything works together easily, but because the Lord is with me in all things. Today, I assume spiritual responsibility for this day, not to control people, not to predict events, but to remain firm in any scenario. I do not compare myself. I do not diminish myself. I do not anticipate in fear. I follow step by step, with attentive eyes, with a guarded heart. This day doesn't demand perfection. It demands choose to move forward, not because everything is resolved, but because remaining still is no longer an option. How many times have you thought about stopping without saying it out loud? How many times have you continued simply because there was no other option? How many times have you smiled on the outside, while inside you silently negotiated giving up? Father, this morning, I don't hide from myself. I acknowledge that there were days when I walked on autopilot, days when I remained without expectation, days when my heart was too tired to dream. But even so, I continued. And perhaps I never stopped to realize the spiritual weight of that. Staying when no one sees requires more faith than starting when everyone applauds. Continuing when the result doesn't appear requires more courage than moving forward when everything flows. Today I understand that the Lord sees this kind of faithfulness, not the noisy faithfulness, but the silent one, the one that doesn't give up in the dark. Let me ask you something honestly. What made you continue until now? Don't answer quickly. Because maybe it wasn't strength, maybe it was minimal hope, maybe it was responsibility, maybe it was just the certainty that giving up would cost more. Even so, you are here. Father, I thank you for every day I continued even without the will, for every prayer made without emotion, for every step taken without clarity. None of this was ignored. Your word says that we need to run with perseverance the race that has been set before us, not the race of others, not the pace of others, but mine. Today I stopped comparing myself. I stopped measuring my progress by someone else's yardstick. I stopped turning processes into accusations. I am not behind, I am under construction. And if the Lord is still working, I have no right to abandon the work. Father, strengthen now the heart that almost gave up, the mind that almost succumbed to exhaustion, the spirit that almost believed it wasn't worth it anymore. May perseverance not be a burden, but a conscious choice. May prayer not be an obligation, but a refuge. May faith not be a demand, but active rest. Today I reposition myself, not with grandiose promises, but with firm decision. I continue, even without complete answers, even without total control, even without human guarantees, because your faithfulness does not depend on my performance. It depends on who you are, and you remain. If this content speaks to you, if this prayer is helping you align yourself, allow yourself to continue walking in this spiritual environment. Remaining exposed to the Word is also a way to persevere. Father, seal this block in your heart. May nothing that has been said be lost. May nothing be just a passing emotion. May everything take root. Father, I come to the end of this prayer not empty, but aligned, not full of human guarantees, but firm in spiritual confidence. I surrender this entire day. What I understand and what I don't understand, what I planned and what will surprise me, what strengthens me and what still challenges me. Today I do not walk alone. Today I do not advance in the dark. Today I do not carry the weight that does not belong to me. I receive the authority that comes from you, not to dominate people, not to control scenarios, but to remain firm when pressures arise. If any opposition arises, I do not despair. If any word tries to hurt me, I do not absorb it. If any memory tries to weaken me, I do not submit. No weapon forged against me will prosper, not because I am strong, but because the Lord is faithful. Father, guard my mind. May it not become an unnecessary battlefield. May it not be held hostage by repetitive thoughts. May it remain anchored in truth. Guard my heart. May it not harden. May it not close. May it not be contaminated with bitterness. Guide my steps. Even when I don't know exactly where I'm stepping, even when the path seems too ordinary to be spiritual, I trust that the Lord watches over my coming and going, that nothing goes unnoticed, that no detail is too small. Today, I choose to move forward with balance, not rushing beyond what I can sustain, not stopping before what I need to finish. If healing is needed, may it begin at the right time. If liberation is needed, may it happen with maturity. If growth is needed, may I accept the process. I don't rush into promises. I rest in faithfulness. Father, thank you for allowing me to survive the night. Thank you for raising me this morning. Thank you for the continued purpose in my path. I end this prayer with the certainty that the day does not come